Hello everyone, thank you for tuning into this video. My name is Draco Beeks, and before we get into the video, I just wanted to let you know that this clip actually comes from my live streams that I do every single week, where I literally talk about anything sports related that you can think of. So if you are interested in checking one of those out, like I said, it's every single week. So hit that subscribe button, hit that like button if you enjoyed the video, so you can know of the future live streams. But enough of all that, let's get into the video. Let's get into these week 2 picks. So we're going to start with the Thursday night game and then just kind of go from left to right, and then do the Sunday night game, which I actually don't know. I have to look at that real quick. The Sunday night game kind of towards the end, and then the 2 Monday night games at the end, obviously. But first up, we've got the Eagles and the Vikings. They're going to be in Philadelphia. So I think this is a pretty easy one to predict because the Eagles came off a win last week. The Vikings came off a close loss last week, and the Eagles were away and the Vikings were home, and they got those results, that they did. So I think the Eagles win this game. I don't think the Eagles played all that well last week either, if I'm going to be honest. Maybe that was because of the Patriots' defense more so than the Eagles' offense, but they scored 25 points, so that's good, right? But I don't know, they just seemed a little off. Week 1 jitters, probably something like that, but I think the Eagles win that game quite comfortably. So going from left to right here, the rest of the Sunday games, we'll start with the Chiefs and the Jaguars. Now we got a repeat of the playoff game that they had last year, where the Jaguars went into Arrowhead and lost, got eliminated from the playoffs. So now the Chiefs are going to Jacksonville, but the Chiefs have a mini bye week, kind of as you can see by this little red thing here. You can see it under the Lions as well. So this is a weird one because the Jaguars played really well against the Colts, and the Chiefs, they didn't play terrible, but they ended up losing to the Lions last week. So it's a weird one to pick. I think Chris Jones is going to be back. We don't know about Kelce yet. I'm going to assume that he's going to be back because he had a bone bruise, so it wasn't a terrible injury. So I'm going to assume the Chiefs are going to be fully there, and Mahomes is going to have his number 1 target to pick at. I want to pick the Jaguars in this one. I just want to, because they played so well last week, and they're going to be in Duval this week. And they played the Chiefs really well in the playoffs last year. So I think, I'm going to stick with it. I think the Jaguars get it done. I think they're going to be fine. Now the Bengals-Ravens. Bengals at home, coming off a tough loss to the Browns last week. Obviously, Joe Burrow, he starts slow every single year and slowly gets better and better. But the Ravens got the dub against Houston last week, and they didn't look their best either. Yes, the conditions weren't the greatest, but an AFC North clash right here. This is week 2, and these are tough games to call. I don't know, man. I think if the Bengals fall to 0-2, they're going to be fine. But you know what? I'm going to go with the Ravens to win this game. I think, like I said, the Bengals just start slow. I think they were 0-2 to start the year last year, and then they went on that run to a deep playoff push there. I just don't think Joe Burrow's going to be 100% just yet. Similar to last year, it took him a few games to get going. I think Joe Burrow, with his calf injury, he's still not 100% just yet. And the Ravens will sneak away with the win. It's going to be a very close game. But, yeah, I think the Ravens get it done. Solely because of Lamar Jackson. Maybe not even because of OBJ, Zay Flowers, J.K. Dobbins. Obviously, getting out for the season is super unfortunate. That sucks for them. But yeah, I think they're going to be okay and get the W right here. Bills playing host to the Raiders. I would say this is an easy Bills dub, but after them losing to the Jets the other night and the Raiders beating the Broncos, maybe I'm not so certain about that. But I'm still going to pick the Bills. They're going to be at home. They're going to look for some revenge over the Jets game. And the Raiders, they're just not going to be expecting, or maybe they will be expecting, but they're not going to be able to handle Josh Allen in that offense. I don't see Josh Allen throwing 3 interceptions again this week. I think he's going to be just fine. He's not known for super crazy bad back-to-back weeks, I don't think. So I think he'll be fine. and the Bills will kind of get back on the right path there. Chargers and Titans. The Chargers looked super good last week, but they just couldn't handle the offense of the Dolphins. So I think they're going to get the W over the Tennessee Titans here this week, just because the Titans just don't look all that great. And I think they're going to be a middle-of-the-pack team. I think the Chargers are going to make a solid playoff push here this year, and they're going to be just fine. And we got the Colts traveling to Houston to play the Texans. This is a tough one, man, because Anthony Richardson looked amazing, but he did get a little banged up there towards the end of the game. I haven't been paying attention too much, but I don't think he's going to be out this week against the Texans. But the Texans are at home, and that stadium is underrated when it comes to like noise and crowd atmosphere, stuff like that. So this might be one of the few wins for one of these teams here. Unless they tie, I do have the option of picking that, but I'm not going to. I think the Colts get it done. Yeah, I think the Colts get it done. It's not going to be a pretty game, but I think the Colts, just because, Anthony Richardson, he looked great. He really did. The Jacks, and they scored 21 against the Jaguars, who are leaps and bounds above the Texans, in my opinion. So I think this is going to be a tough game to watch. I don't think there's going to be a lot of excitement to it, but I think the Colts get it done. Now the Dolphins-Patriots is a Sunday night game, so we'll come back to them. We got Jets and Cowboys in Dallas. Now, if Aaron Rodgers was not hurt and everything that happened Monday night still happened, I'd think that we have a very serious game on our hands. But the Cowboys just looked so good. Defense, special teams, offense, they looked so good. So I don't think there's a whole lot to say about this one. The Jets do have a great defense, so I think I don't think the Cowboys will put up 40 against the Jets like they did the Giants, but I don't think the Jets are going to have the best offense coming into this week with Zach Wilson. I want to be proven super wrong on Zach Wilson, by the way, but just don't see it happening. So I think the Cowboys get the win in that one. All right. Excuse me. Anyway, we've got the Commanders traveling to Denver to play the Broncos. This is, again, weird one. Commanders squeaked out a win, against the Cardinals last week, but the Broncos lost to the Raiders last week, so I don't know how to think of this one. I think this is a very evenly matched game, so I think I'm going to pick the Broncos just purely because they're at home and there's that altitude. I don't think there's much else in it. Maybe Russell Wilson and Sean Payton kind of figure things out a little bit better now that they've got a game under their belt. They kind of understand the whole experience with everything, and there's that. So I think the Broncos get it done. I think they barely squeak away with the win. Bears traveling to Tampa Bay to play the Buccaneers. Now this is another fun one because the Bears offense I think is really good, and I think they're going to be electric, even though they didn't show that last week. And the Buccaneers get a big win over the Vikings last week too, so it's a tough one to call. I feel like I'm putting a home field a little too thick into my bias here, but I think I'm going to go Buccaneers. It's just, again, the Bears, they had the number one overall pick last year, so maybe we're just overhyping the Bears a little bit. You get the number one overall pick for a reason, right? So, yeah, screw it. We're going to go with the Buccaneers to win this game and start out 2-0 in their division. Green Bay traveling to Atlanta to play the Falcons. Man, it's hard for me not to pick the Packers after that amazing Week 1 performance against the Bears. And the Falcons, it looked like they struggled a little bit against the Panthers and then figured it out, got that victory in the end. But I don't think they played as well as the Packers last week. So I think just purely off of what I've seen, I think the Packers get it done. Seahawks traveling to Denver to play the Lions. If you're not picking the Lions in this one, I don't know what's wrong with you, especially because of the Seahawks losing last week. The Lions getting a huge victory over the Chiefs last week, and having a few extra days rest, I think the Lions take care of business in this one very easily. San Francisco traveling to LA. Not a huge travel, but, you got to go play at SoFi to play the Rams, who looked super good last week. Shocking win over the Seahawks for me. I didn't think they were going to win that game, but lo and behold, they did. And they were in Seattle as well, so this one gets a little bit tighter for me, but with how well they played against the Steelers last week, it's just, I'm on the 49ers until I see otherwise, because they killed it last week against the Steelers. They were amazing. So I think they get the win in SoFi. It's probably going to be like 60% 49ers fans anyway, because that's how it usually goes there in SoFi for either LA team, unless it's the playoffs. So I think the 49ers get it done. Giants and Cardinals, man, after last week with what the Giants went through, it's hard to pick them to win, especially going to Arizona. Yes, the Cardinals aren't going to be a good team, but man, the Giants just looked so bad last week. This is one of those games where the Cardinals are like, you know what, we're going to take it to them because they're weak, we can get these guys. And the Giants are in their locker room thinking, all right, we have to figure it out quick. We need a get-right game. We need to, lay the smack down on the Cardinals, and we need to, take it to them easily. So I think last week was a fluke for the Giants. I don't think they're going to be anywhere near that bad for a single game the rest of the year. But, man, it was not pretty. So part of me wants to pick a tie just because I don't like either of these teams to win this game. But I don't think I'm going to pick any ties in any of these predictions. That would just be boring and silly. I'm going to go with the Giants. I think they're going to be all right. They're going to bounce back and get the win over the Cardinals. So that brings us to the Sunday night game with the Dolphins traveling to the Patriots in Foxborough to play their Sunday night game, primetime game. Man, the Dolphins' offense looked so good last week. They were just unbelievable. I don't see them slowing down and getting stopped by many defenses this season, if any. I mean, the Chargers' defense isn't the greatest, and they put up 36 against them, and I see them doing that a lot this season. So, Tua to Tyreek, wow, what a combination. So I think the Dolphins win this game. I think it's going to be a little easier for them than it was for the Eagles last week. And yeah, I think they get the dub there in primetime, which leads us to the two Monday night games. And I can't remember which ones. There's an hour difference between the start times, but I think the Steelers-Browns kicks off first. So we're going to go with this one first. And wow, I mean, I would have easily picked the Steelers before last week, because I wasn't all that high on the Browns, but they get the huge dub against the Bengals last week. They put Joe Burrow in his place. The Browns look good, and the Steelers did not. So this is a tough one, and it's going to be a really close game. It's a divisional matchup, AFC North football. These two teams do not like each other, and they will really go at each other's throats. I think the Steelers are more well-equipped for games like this. Mike Tomlin's been around for ages. You got T.J. Watt, Kenny Pickett. He's, still trying to look to take that next step. But I think the Steelers, they've just got a little bit more experience when it comes to stuff like that, and they'll be all right. And they'll get that W in this one. And finally, the Saints and the Carolina Panthers. I'm still high on the Panthers, man. They lost to the Falcons last week. I think the Panthers win this division somehow. Maybe that's just so much more with my heart than my brain on that one. But they're at home against the Saints, who squeaked out a win against the Titans team, who is mediocre at best. My brain is telling me that the Saints will win this game. And my heart is just tugging me to the other side and just saying, pick the Panthers, dude. Bryce Young, he's gonna show out. Everyone's super high on him as well. Everyone in the Panthers organization, they're super high on this guy. So I let the heart get the best of me last week. Although you could argue that was a much closer game on paper, the Panthers and the Falcons. So I'm going to do it one more time. I'm going to let my heart dictate my prediction one more time. And if it's a blowout by the Saints, we're going to throw that out the window and move on. But if the Panthers win, or at least make it a very, very close game, I'm still going to be on them. So there's, I think the Panthers do it. I think they do it. So there's my Week 2 picks. Let me know your thoughts there in the comments here. What you think. Obviously, I'm not getting any of these right. So, let me know what you think. But yeah, let's see what happens. And let's see how it goes.